The Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band, and this time, funky. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. All right, now, we got to do the bass. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One up this time. Right foot, let's go. Left foot, let's go. Cha-cha, real smooth. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One up this time. Right foot, let's go. Cha-cha now, y'all. Now it's time to get funky. To the right now. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Left foot, 2 steps. Slide to the right. Right foot, 2 steps. Yeah.
That's okay. I'll grab that.
My leftovers. Thank you.
Oh, that's